Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today I'm looking at a book which has come to us from the Child Poverty Action Group. It's one that I've looked at before. This is Housing Benefit and Council Tax Reduction legislation for the year 2022 to 2023. The original commentary was written by Lorna Findlay and it's been updated, and CPAG are to be congratulated for producing this work. I've given it a general title for the review, an in-depth analysis of current housing benefit and council tax reduction statutes, which is basically where we are, because this is a very detailed work. Let's have a look. It's a paperback. It's quite flimsy actually. There's the front of it there. You can see the spine and you can see the back, the blurb on the back, which I'll refer to in a minute. The book itself runs to nearly 2,000 pages, and at the back you've got an index, which is quite difficult to follow in some respects. You've got to get some idea. Obviously it's page number based, but there's a lot of information in the index because this is really about the Acts of Parliament themselves. And of course what you do have with the Acts of Parliament are general notes, which are extremely helpful, I think, to anybody involved as an advisor. The front of the book, therefore, has a lot of information on it. You can see a lot of people are mentioned and are involved. I can't mention all of them, but the main revisions have been done by these people: Richard Poynter, Carolyn George, Steward, Wright, Martin Williams, Susan Mitchell and John Shaw. And they're people who are involved in a large number of these books. And they're very helpful for any advisors. Let me show you the contents. There's the contents section. And then you can see running from the contents section you've got a table of cases. And you've got after that quite a substantial table of decisions from commissioners. There's a lot of information here. Then upper tribunal decisions. You see how the law itself and the processes have changed. And then you've got after that you've got a useful table of abbreviations. The only thing I would say is you've got to get used to the house style of this publication because it's quite small type and you've got to look carefully, but the abbreviations are very helpful because it's quite easy to get overwhelmed by what an abbreviation means. You can see that from where we are, the abbreviation of statutes in particular. And then you get into the work itself. Part 1, primary legislation and housing benefits, and then you see how the statute is laid out. But as I say, the beauty of this is the actual commentaries which are given to help you depending on what the issues are that you are facing. Now I'm going to put the book there because it'll fall over otherwise. Let me just say a little bit about what this book is about. It's only a short review, this one. We welcome the 35th edition of this well-established annual title from the Child Poverty Action Group, CPAG. It's an essential handbook, we think, which contains all the relevant primary and secondary legislation governing housing benefit and the council tax reduction schemes which run in England, Wales and Scotland. And as to be expected with all of the titles which the Child Poverty Action Group produce, users and advisors, we think, will find expert commentary on the rules, the latest case law, official guidance and advice on administrative and practical issues. And I think the practical issues are the general notes, which we get, of course, in a whole load of practitioner works, but this here is extremely helpful. It remains, I think, an essential resource for anyone dealing with housing benefit inquiries, especially those preparing and presenting appeals, as well as, of course, lawyers, local authority staff and housing organisations. And fundamentally, it's something which should be in your advisor's bookshelf in your library, because it's a book that you will refer to. And I do see these books from time to time in court. It's also a handbook, I think I can say it's a handbook in that sense of statutes, which has long been a standard text with the original commentary coming from Lorna Findlay, and it's now been updated by a team of specialists who are listed at the front. And to illustrate its formidable reputation, it's used in all housing benefit cases coming from the first tier tribunal, social entitlement chamber, and it includes what will be an updating supplement to be published in the summer of 2023. The date of publication of this paperback is cited as at the 12th of December, and I'm recording it just before the end of 2022. And I just want to mention a couple of things, because in the book itself it's described as a definitive publication to include the legislation, and the law is, in this edition, is up to date as at the 3rd of November 2022, and it gathers together all the relevant statutory material with an expert commentary on each, and that's, as I say, the selling point. And it includes analysis and interpretation of provisions, the latest case law and so forth, and the information is actually fully indexed and cross-referenced, but as I say, a bit of a word of warning with the index because it is very detailed. It's been a long established text now for a whole range of different sets of advisors, and as I say, we do have this rather nice supplement coming out later in the year. And I'd like to just say one last thing about the Child Poverty Action Group, because they are to be commended for producing this work. The CPAG works on behalf, and I'll give the little spiel here, works on behalf of more than 1 in 4 children in the United Kingdom growing up in poverty. It doesn't have to be like this, they say, and they're right to say it. We use our understanding of what causes poverty and the impact it has on children's lives to campaign for policies that will prevent and solve poverty for good. Now, I say that because I'm a Conservative supporter. I'm not a socialist, but I do recognise the work of this organisation is absolutely fundamental to what we do. And without these books, life would be incredibly difficult. And I know from the huge number of comments I get when I produce these videos that people do appreciate knowing about these works. And I can only say I have a debt of gratitude to all the people, for instance here, it's Richard Poynter and his colleagues, who have produced this work, because they make our lives just a bit easier. It doesn't have to be so complex, this area of law, but it is, and we have to work the best way we can. But a very big thank you to everybody concerned for this work, and I hope you will find this handbook of some help and hope too. Thank you very much. Bye bye.